Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual Care Rehab podcast. So, Virtual Care Rehab is an online virtual clinic providing healthcare services for the mind and the body. I am Kaitlyn Miles, and today our personal trainer, Martin Hugh, is joining us to talk all about fitness and nutrition strategies for the COVID-19 pandemic and for weight management. So, welcome, Martin, and feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Martin. I'm a personal trainer at the Virtual Care Rehab, and I'm happy to be on today with you for the podcast.
Awesome. We're happy to have you here too, Martin. So we'll jump into things right away. So what really led you to becoming a personal trainer?
Yes, I have always been interested in playing sports, more in particular in terms of golf, tennis, volleyball, and soccer when I was a kid. And since grade back in high school, I started to work out, and working out with my friends, I had a lot of fun. And certain particular courses during the school, I had particular interest in the exercise science, so that seemed to stick with me, and it led into other more particular programs in university to prepare myself. And I loved the sports, and my family always enjoyed golf and tennis the most. So.
Awesome. So it sounds like training and sports and everything's really been a big part of your life for a long time. It's been really second to you. Wonderful. That's awesome. Right. And what population do you primarily work with right now, Martin?
The middle age, male, female, between the 30s to 50s in that population. But wonderful. I do have some are closer into the elderly, and I have worked with some teenagers before.
Awesome. And would you say you have a favorite population to work with, or some clients that you really enjoy working with?
Usually between the 30s to 40s, just because, they like to make sure that their health and their physique are up to their expectations. And therefore, they want to look good. Either it's for, summer season, for bikinis for females, and for the men, they just want to look good, right?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the summertime, that definitely, the cause and the motivation to have a nice physique can be definitely up there, especially getting into the beginning of summer. I'm sure your clients say that a lot to you.
That's correct.
And what are the most common challenges you see your clients actually having?
Yeah, with that, usually the lack of time. Sometimes with motivation aspect, like I'm there with them when I need to train them. However, once they're on their own, they may not always end up having that motivation to keep going with it. And therefore that struggle with that exercising on a regular basis slows down a lot. And there are certain times that with clients, my clients, they have hit a plateau phase, and the weight just hasn't really been able to drop or see any major changes. And therefore, the way how I can be able to help motivate them back is to, one, keep them accountable, and two, is pick out their certain particular clothing that they like or haven't worn in a while. And therefore, using that as a reference to help track their progress with their weight is helpful.
Wonderful. And it's funny you bring that up too, Martin, coming from a dietetics perspective too. A lot of those challenges I see on a daily basis as well, clients lacking that time for making meals or meal prepping and lacking the motivation to do it in the first place. So it's interesting to see that overlap there. And as well, you mentioned to your role in keeping them accountable too. I definitely relate to that sometimes. People reach out just to have that support and somebody to talk to and that accountability. So that's really interesting to hear. And what are, the most common injuries that you typically see with your clients?
Mostly it's low back, sometimes shoulder. I have encountered some knee and ankle issues with some of my clients, but mostly it's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have, any thoughts or reasonings behind why you think it's, typically back happening or back injuries happening?
I find it to be more posture related. I deal with the clients who do a lot more corporate jobs, so they sit at a desk in front of a computer more so, whether it's at home now or at the office, or a combination of like a hybrid. And it seems that way, that posture, just that constant slouching, seems to contribute to that low back pain.
For sure. And do you think, I know we're getting a little bit off the questions we talked about before, but, do you think that has any play into, COVID and people working from home and maybe having to work in different places and in different seating than they're typically used to?
Yeah, because now with COVID happening still, the idea of working from home is great. However, the ergonomics aspect will definitely have to change. And with my clients, they realize this, they need that proper posture to hold them through for those 8 hours of work, whether it's at home or at the office. So it definitely did have an impact on them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it sounds like you're a really good, support and give that good support that they're needing. And you have that, education to educate them on why, they might be experiencing some back issue and some back pain as well, which is wonderful. What are the most common questions that you get from your clients?
Sometimes it's just like, differences between, like, what are the differences between the using a dumbbell, using a kettlebell, using resistant bands, or other sorts of interesting other types of equipments. Those are some of the questions, like what are the effects, like benefits of using each one? Which one's the best? Or even just certain changes in terms of the program expectations. It's, so when am I going to see this result happening with this particular exercise or series of exercises or this particular program? And those are more common questions that are being asked, or even as simple as, what should I eat to complement with the program, the exercise programs.
For sure. Yeah. So you're getting, a wide variety of questions, it seems like. And for sure, it probably depends on what client you're talking with and what, age group they are, what their goals are. But for sure, there's definitely a lot of questions and myths and different things surrounding exercise and nutrition, as we both know, as there's a little bit of that overlap for each. So it's, again, wonderful to hear that, your clients have you first that extra support. And we talked a little bit about, COVID-19 impacting perhaps, posture for some people working from home, like you said, Martin. How
Mm-hmm.
else have you noticed COVID-19 has impacted your clients?
Yeah, it's due to the fact that they don't have a facility to use to work out anymore. Whether they freeze their membership at the gym or they even cancel completely. They or don't even have a condo facility to use for a while, and therefore they had to convert to home workouts, whether it's in the living room or dining room, whatever it may be, and it's different. I get the comments of, man, I can't use certain weights, or this is not really enough, or it's kind of weird, like changing back into this, and I'm used to interacting with people and using different equipment at the gym, and that's the biggest impact. And I find that for me, like I try my best to help whatever way I can. Introducing virtual training, or if it can't be in person, and therefore that will help to keep them on an exercise regimen to keep them active and keep them healthy.
Okay, well, incredible. And yeah, so it really sounds like your clients have gone through a pretty big transition, trying to go from working out in the gym and then, of course, COVID closing down those gyms to now having to adapt to working out at home, which from what you're saying, sounds like it's, uncomfortable for some people as they're trying out this new thing. I know it's been a couple of years now, but definitely, there's still some uncomfortable feelings that can accompany it for sure.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And what exercise programs do you find work best for weight management, Martin?
It's hard to say, actually. With this, it's actually quite a combination of many things. In terms of, I can't say that, there's a one exercise that's the best because everyone would just choose that one exercise program. It has to be a combination of many different factors. So, whatever your favorite cardio exercise can be, whether it's jogging, running, cycling, yoga, swimming, just to keep the cardio aspect, the heart pumping strong, in combination with the weight training. So in terms of resistance training, I find the best help for my clients is to start with dumbbells, or even with some resistant bands. That way it's easy, it's more controllable, and they can be able to manage between just either doing, let's say one arm movements versus two arm movements. And it seems to help kickstart their metabolism, to get their weight management in more of a controlled manner, and to get them back into going down to weight loss wherever their goals can be. And it's easier to track and progress that way.
Gotcha. So from what I'm hearing from you, Martin, is, it is typically pretty individualized, but having a little bit of a combination of, both things can make a big impact and really help with weight management. Is that about correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And we talked a little bit about this before, Martin, before we jumped on the podcast here, looking at, the difference between different kinds of diets, whether it's, keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, vegetarianism, all of those different diets. From your perspective, what have you heard from your clients about these kind of diets?
Yes, I have some clients who have tried keto, who have tried intermittent fasting. Very few who are vegan or vegetarian. But with those particular diets, or even Mediterranean, they seem to respond quite well to that. Somehow they can be able to fit into their lifestyle for a few of them, especially with intermittent fasting. With keto, though, it's a bit trickier on some of my clients, and therefore, they tried and not really found a huge amount of success. So, I try my best to tell them, it's more about simple food pyramid and some portion control sizing, and be able to not overeat too much. But that's usually the difference that I have seen with these particular diets, and certain clients of mine have tried these ones, and some have worked for them and some haven't.
Okay. Yeah. And it's really interesting to hear the feedback that you've gotten from your clients, Martin, about, their experiences, because absolutely, everybody's will be different, but it's always good to hear, how it's going. So from my perspective as a dietitian working with a whole array of different clients, a lot of them looking for weight loss, what I always like to, go with, regardless of, whether it's like keto or intermittent fasting, vegetarianism, whatever it is, I kind of take the focus away off of that kind of thing, and more focus on, what's going to be sustainable changes that they will be able to make, feel confident about, and be able to keep making throughout, the rest of their life. What's something that they'll be able to stick to and enjoy, whether that's, including carbs in their diet. I know cutting out carbs can be very difficult, can have a lot of effects, especially when it comes to energy levels. So typically, when I talk to a lot of people, some of my clients who are considering keto, the response when I ask them, do you feel like you can continue through, the rest of your life without having carbs in it? Typically the answer is no. So what I always like to say is, what is something, whether, it's a diet or a lifestyle change, I'm not a fan of the word diet, but what is a lifestyle change you feel like you could make to help you reach your goals, but something that you feel like you can stick to long term? And I like how you also mentioned too, Martin, a little bit about portion control. So that is super important too. Unfortunately, in today's society, portions, and over the years as well, portions have continued to get larger, whether that's, in restaurants, or even in, some different grocery store portion sizes as well. Just, how the world is working, unfortunately, but it's super important to be mindful of that. So I really appreciate you bringing that point up.
Yeah, no problem.
Wonderful. And talking a little bit about too, we talked about our take home message here, Martin, and kind of focusing on, what it is that we really want everybody listening and everybody watching to really walk away with when it comes to, exercise and fitness and nutrition and whatnot. And I know we talked a little bit about from my perspective, I like to say, nutrition and exercise really go hand in hand, and having a combined approach for each, especially when it comes to weight management, can really help the most with that and really help with your overall health too. What would you say from your perspective?
Yes, definitely in terms of whatever you enjoy, whatever activities that usually clients would tend to enjoy, do that more often. Whatever way to stay active is very, very important, because ultimately now it's due with COVID active, it's more about health as the number one priority versus the body look, appearance, and physique. So it's even as simple as, just starting some type of a walking program, or to working a full-on sweat workout at home. Just find ways to stay active, whatever means possible.
Wonderful. Yeah. And I like how you mentioned, Martin, whether you're being active with, a walk, whether you're, getting and breaking a full on sweat during an activity, both are a way to stay active. And I think that really points out the scope and the scale of physical activity. And it's not just one thing that's considered being active. There's a whole array of different activities. So from what I'm getting from you, it sounds like, figure out what activities you like to do and just do them, be active.
That's right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, well, it was great to have you here, Martin. Again, thank you so much for being on my podcast. For those listening or watching, there is a link below it to the VCR website in the description box. You can click on it to explore VCR's resources and learn more about providers, including Martin. So again, thank you so much for being here, Martin. It was wonderful to chat with you, and hopefully our viewers can jump on to the next segment we have.
Great. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.